Hey, and welcome. I'm Dave, and today I want to talk to you about word counts. So, in the industry of writing, of being an author, word count is something you're going to hear a lot of. Typically, an author writes their book within Microsoft Word, and typically the word count is what is used to gauge how far the author is in that process. So, we're going to focus on authors. We're going to focus on authors using Microsoft Word because that's the industry norm. And a couple reasons why word count is going to be so important for authors. Well, we've mentioned obviously that it's an easy gauge of progress. So a lot of authors want to focus on page count, but you're going to see a little bit later on that page count's actually not that accurate. A word count is a much more granular answer as to how far an author is progressing through their work. The great thing about word counts as well is that it allows for easy daily targets. So instead of waking up and going, well, I'm going to write one page, what you say is, I want to target 500 words or 1,000 words, for example. So obviously using pages as a target means you can kind of game that system if you really wanted to. So word counts mean you can't game word count, you got to get that total. And so it's a much easier daily target for an author or a writer to set. Now, as I mentioned, a word count's better than a page count. Quite often an author comes to me and says, well, I've got a book and it's 100 pages long, and that's great. It just doesn't mean much to me because how long are your pages? You know, have you filled up the page? What font size are you using? What font face are you using? What margin settings do you have? So it's an easy measurement to use that a lot of people do speak, but it's not the most accurate one. It's going to be helpful for other writers or even industry professionals that you're going to be interacting with as an author. So the most important reason actually that I want an author to focus on the word count is that it's an easy way to interact with people who need to quote you as an author. For example, let's say you are getting editing done with your manuscript. Now, taking a page to the editor's going to have the problem that I just mentioned where if you say, editor, I've got 100 pages, please quote me, they're going to go, it's not accurate enough. Some editors do, but I know that by far most editors want to know the exact word count. And specifically, that's because most countries have a governing per word cost of editing. So depending on your industry body, for example, in South Africa, we have a per word rate governed at least 30 cents per word, South African cents obviously, per word. And so an editor really wants to know the word count because that's often what they're using to calculate your bill. And it's not just the editors who actually need the word count. Funny enough, other people in that production line, so other people who are going to be typesetting your book interior, for example, want to know specifically what is the word count, again, as opposed to the page count. You can always give them both, but I'm very sure that any typesetter, the person designing your book interior or editor, will mainly want to focus on that all-important word count. So great. Now we've covered what the important bit or why word counts is important for an author. So how do you typically find the word count? Now, again, the assumption is for you watching that you're going to be using Microsoft Word. And the assumption is obviously that you're using Windows, although I'm pretty sure Microsoft Word is going to look fairly similar with an Apple and Microsoft Windows as well. So, step one for you to find that all-important word count number is to open up your document. Open up the Word document, have it open in front of you, and now what's going to happen is on the top menu bar, so at the top of your writing, on the menu bar, what you're going to see is a range of options. The option we're looking for is the option called Review. Click on Review, you're going to see an option following that saying word count. It's actually that simple. So that's how you quickly and easily find your document's word count to give to anyone that you are busy working with. Now, very important is that you might also see that word count number as soon as you open the document on the bottom bar. So a lot of documents have the settings set up so that when you open a document, the word count actually appears at the bottom of that bar so you can quickly and easily see it without necessarily needing to actually open up the review menu option. Again, if you don't see it though, now you know how to find it. So as you open up the review word count option, you're going to notice that the options shown to you are not just word count. What you're going to see is that it shows you the page count. It shows you that word count, obviously the all-important word count. It's going to show you the amount of characters. So the character is the individual, I want to say individual character, but the character is each and every part making up a word. So a word of the has 3 characters in it, for example. You're going to see also that it counts the number of paragraphs. You're going to see it counts the number of lines. So it's kind of geeky, but it does tell you a lot of what you need to know about how your writing is progressing. Now, if you're wondering, well, where would I ever use something like character count, for example? Funny enough, a lot of the online publishing platforms, let's take Amazon, for example. Amazon, when it asks an author to give a blurb to describe what the book's about for the reader to want to buy the book, gives that number in characters. I think it's 4,000 characters. So just know that although you're not going to use those other measurements too often, sometimes you will. The final thing that's very important on that menu is actually going to be a little tick box you're going to see at the end, and the tick box says enable for footnotes, endnotes, and I think text boxes as well. Now guys, all you need to know is that I want you to have that option ticked. Very obviously what it does is Microsoft Word's asking you, would you like to include the word count from footnotes, from endnotes, or from any text boxes containing text that might be inside your Word document. So, for example, if you go to an editor and you say, well, editor, my book's 50,000 words, and you haven't ticked that option, and let's, for example, say your nonfiction title has quite a few endnotes, what it means is the editor's quote is going to be higher than you expect potentially, because they're going to be counting those words. They do need to be edited as well. So make sure that when you are counting words that you have that option ticked, otherwise you're going to find a bit of a weird discrepancy happening.